Hello again, everyone. It's Todd Starouch here at the first ever Atlantic City Celebrity Convention. It's the first day of the con, and I am having a blast. I get to speak to a lot of the coolest people. And like I always tell everybody, I am just a fan who gets to do some cool stuff. So this really is a thrill for me because I get to stand here with the lovely and talented Karyn Parsons. Karyn, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
And how's the weekend been for you so far?
It just started, and it's amazing to be right out here on the beach.
I know we got the ocean behind us and the boardwalk.
So
nice. Like, how cool is this? Is your first time in Atlantic City?
It's my first time at this part of Atlantic City, right here, and it's just so great. I'm just dying to go in the water. But
I was thinking about that myself. I'm like, ooh, that looks fun, right?
It's hard not to, but it's been really nice. Yeah, I've met a lot of really nice people.
Excellent. So, like I told you before, like I feel like I literally grew up with you. You know, you were in my living room with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, hugely popular show, you know. Does it surprise you that, you know, after so much time, people are still so invested in the show that they want to come out and meet you and talk about it?
Yeah, it's always, it's hard to wrap my head around completely how many people, how many different generations the show has affected and touched, and that it's such a big part of so many people's childhood. Because of course, I have things like that for myself, and I know what that feels like. And but to be on that end, for me to be on that end of it, it's a real honor, and I'm kind of amazed. We were having such a good time doing it. It's not like it was some torturous experience. It was an incredible experience unto itself. Without all this time later, having so many people have wonderful things to say, to have been so deeply affected by the show. It's just, like I said, it's been an honor for me.
What I remember about it, you know, looking back now or watching reruns, despite being, you know, pretty much a comedy, you dealt with a lot of weighty issues about family and growing up and challenges and things like that. So it was had surprising depth.
That was, I think that's the kind of the beautiful Trojan horse effect of the sitcom, you know, because you come in there with this big laughs and fun, and then when everybody's wide open and unsuspecting, you kind of punch them in the gut with something a little bit heavier to take, you know, something a little unexpected shows up. And I think we don't see as much. I mean, the sitcom you don't see the sitcom so much anymore. But I think that was a real power that it had. You know, it provided a lot of laughs, but it was also a way for people to deal with things that were stronger. And you know, oddly, some of the issues that we talked about or we dealt with on the show are still relevant today.
Sure.
Not so great that some of them are still relevant, but they are, and I think generations that are watching it now can watch it and still relate to these issues.
Well, life is challenging, right? So I think the great thing about shows like that is we all can relate to it, and you can deal with weighty issues, but in a funny way where it's not beaten down, you know. It's great.
Exactly. And there's hope in the end. There's a light shined on where the hope is, or what you can do, or who supports you and helps you, who's there for you. There's always this kind of, so you're not just left feeling like, you know, crap. You know?
Exactly. Good stuff. I always love asking this question. Do you happen to have a favorite moment or anecdote from the show that you would like to share with us or could share with us?
It's such a good time doing the show. There were so many episodes that were really a lot of fun to do. I do remember early on in the show, though, once when James Avery, I think we were rehearsing, and James Avery went and looked off to the he was supposed to address something off outside through the window, and he looked out the window and he screamed because Will was on the other side and he mooned him. I didn't see it.
That is great.
But I saw James's reaction. It was pretty priceless.
That's a great story. That's a great story. So what are you working on these days? Do you have any new project or anything you're working on that you would like to share with us?
I'm writing these days. So, yeah, I've written a couple of middle grade novels.
Excellent.
And I've written a couple of, I have a nonprofit organization as well called Sweet Blackberry, and I do picture books published by Little Brown, but I do picture books in Scholastic, and I do picture books and in little animated films of these as well. I've been lucky enough to have, for the animated films, I've been lucky enough to have narrators like Alfre Woodard and Queen Latifah, Chris Rock, Lawrence Fishburne narrate them. There's stories about real people in history that we don't hear about so much, real people in Black history. And so that's my nonprofit organization, Sweet Blackberry. I've done a couple picture books for them. I also have a picture book for Scholastic that I'm writing, and I have another novel, a YA novel for Little Brown that I'm doing right now as well. So I'm writing. I'm busy with that right now.
Fantastic. Still creative and reaching out to people. That's great.
And I get to go visit schools around the country and talk to kids and bring these stories to them as well, and hear how they receive them, and that's just been so gratifying.
Awesome. One final question before I let you go. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to actors, actresses that are coming up in the business and want to be part of the business, what advice would you give them?
I think one thing that really was difficult for me was auditioning. First and foremost, I'd say make sure you're doing it because you love acting, not because you want to be famous. It's empty. There's nothing there. There's no there. Really isn't. So I would say make sure you're doing it because you love it first and foremost. Prepare. Learn. You work on your craft. Learn. So when the opportunity arises, you're able to really go in and do your stuff. And then when you go in and do your stuff and you audition, leave it on the floor and leave. You have no control whatsoever with what makes people make their decision. And it's hard to go into a situation and not feel like, okay, I want to make them like me. I want to be right for the part. But none of that is your business. It's your business to take your interpretation, do your best thing, say thanks, this was fun, and have fun. Try to have fun. You get to act that day. You get to go act and do your thing, and then leave and let it be. Because so many things can affect what determines who they cast and how they cast. It has nothing to do with how you did in it. And so I just think it's important to own what you do, work on what you do, own what you do, and when it comes time to get a job, give it your thing and leave. Give it your thing and know that that's enough. There's no one else like you in all of the world. There never has been, there never will be. So what you bring is special and unique always. Be good with that and then move on.
That's awesome. I am going to show that to my daughter because she does musical theater.
Oh, okay.
And I told her, I applaud you. She does great, but you have to be ready for rejection.
Yeah, it's
and you're not going to get every part, and it's okay.
It's part of it, and you don't know what goes on.
Yeah.
There's so many things that affect why people hire people. I mean, I've been on the other side of the camera as well, and I've had actors come in that were so good but we didn't hire because we didn't end up casting them because they didn't feel right with the other. They were acting in a different movie from somebody else, or there was a type thing, or there are a million things that has nothing to do. I remember one actor who was a well-known actor. He was so good, but he didn't work with the rest of the cast, right? Even though he was exceptional. So it has nothing to do with, you don't know what makes people make the decisions they make.
Got it. That's great advice. Karyn, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time. It really was a thrill to get to speak to you. I mean that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Karyn Parsons, everybody, here at the inaugural Atlantic City Celebrity Convention. This is Todd Starouch signing off. We will see all of you in the next interview.